All right, folks, this is Joe with Palmetto Land Buyers, and today we're discussing some common myths about buying a home in Florence, South Carolina. And I'm going to be sharing some things, some of what you need to know before you take on that endeavor. So, all right, so we're going to break this up. Um, myth one, myth two, myth three, four, and five. So I'm going to share with you 7 myths, okay, about buying real estate in Florence, South Carolina. Now, Florence, South Carolina, if you're not already familiar, is the town. I-95 basically runs right through Florence. It's got a very big exit at the intersection of I-26 and I-95. There's a mall in Florence. There's a Target there. There's definitely a lot of shopping in Florence. I wouldn't say it's not the biggest town, but it's up there as far as population, uh, by South Carolina standards. All right, but let's jump right into the myths. So the first one: the market is oversaturated with homes for sale. All right. One of the most prevalent myths is that Florence real estate market is overflowing with homes, making it hard to sell your property quickly and at a good price. Now, what typically happens is if there are a lot of houses for sale on the market, it starts to become a buyer's market because the supply outweighs the demand. When there's more supply than demand, prices start to go down. Okay. Florence is not overflowing with homes. Okay. Actually, according to recent data, the real estate market in Florence has been experiencing a healthy balance between demand and supply, meaning that the number of sellers is equal to about the number of buyers. Prices aren't skyrocketing, they're not tanking. Instead, we see a healthy climb of appreciation over the years when it comes to home values. And inventory levels have been relatively low, which means there are fewer homes for buyers to choose from. Uh, this scarcity works in favor of sellers, creating a competitive environment among buyers. Okay, and so that's the inverse. When there isn't a lot of houses for sale, but we happen to have a lot of buyers looking to buy, then they all start to compete with each other for the available houses, which drives up the price. That's when you start getting to territories where folks are doing bidding wars or making offers sight on scene, or buying property as is, and buyers are willing to pay the seller's closing costs and so on, right? Those are the symptoms of a highly competitive real estate market. But, I feel when it comes to Florence, you got a nice balance. When we're talking, holistically about the city, I'm sure there are pockets in Florence where where buyers, are where it's like a battleground, so to speak, and folks are trying to buy real estate, but real estate moves too fast. All right, myth number two: home prices will continue to rise, so I should wait. All right, reality check. Many sellers believe that holding onto their property for a little longer will result in higher selling prices. Okay. While it is true that the Florence real estate market is appreciating, it's essential to understand market cycles and conditions. All right. Appreciation. Typically, real estate appreciates in value, right? Typically, not always. Sometimes it can go down. You know, there are, and we've probably all seen it, neighborhoods that when we were kids were vibrant neighborhoods, were desirable neighborhoods, and you drive by them today, and that's not the case, right? They're either the houses have deteriorated, people no longer take care of the neighborhood. Who knows? But that could happen to real estate. That could happen to your neighborhood, unfortunately. And I hate to admit that, or I would hate for that to happen to anybody's neighborhood, but we've seen it. And then other times, neighborhoods go through this process of gentrification where typically the neighborhood was not desirable. And then because of economic reasons or some other force, the neighborhood starts to receive an influx of money, and people start buying up real estate in the area and gentrify the overall community, and houses go from being non-desirable to highly desirable, right? They're like super cheap houses one year, and then come 2-3 years later, these houses are now worth a ton of money. That's happened too. And I feel that process gets more news around it, that gentrification process, primarily because it starts to attract criticism around, hey, this neighborhood, for example, they'll say, this neighborhood here used to have affordable housing, but now because of gentrification, people can't afford the houses here anymore, right? And I know that process has I know that Miami, for example, around the Wynwood district, has experienced that same situation where the real estate in that area wasn't very desirable. You'd walk around there, a lot of homeless people, a lot of disorganized graffiti, and I'd say it's disorganized because there's still a lot of graffiti. Just now, it's very nice, but back then it was just a lot of tags, a lot of just crap on the wall, a lot of homeless people, and now the community is much more vibrant, and the real estate there is much more expensive. All right, myth number 3: you need to make major renovations before selling. And look, whether or not you decide to make renovations is up to you, and a lot of that is going to depend on your financial situation, whether or not you can afford these repairs, whether the repair is going to add significant value to your house. Um, there are buyers that, like my company, right? Palmetto Buyers, we will buy the property as is. We're kind of a, and our selling point is, look, we're going to pay cash, we're going to close fast, I'm going to buy it just the way that it is. You don't have to do anything to it. I'm going to make this a hands-off process, as much of a hands-off process for you. You'll have to communicate with a real estate attorney. You'll have to sign paperwork. But other than that, I'm going to take responsibility, right? I want the house as is because I'm coming in, I'm buying it, and I'm coming in, and I'm going to add value to the house. I'm going to put a new roof, right? And all depends on the condition of the different things in the house. But if the roof is bad, I'm going to put a new roof. If the countertops are Formica, I'm changing those, putting granite, right? The appliances, I'm changing those. I'm going new floor, right? If you got carpet, I'm taking it out. I'm putting it new. I'm painting the entire house. We're redoing the windows. We're going to redo the bathroom. We're taking out the old toilets, putting in new toilets, new faucets, a new sink, right? We're going to do as much new as possible. And so there is no requirement for you to make renovations. Now, if you want to get maximum money for your house, then you're going to have to do renovations before you sell it. Okay. You're going to have to paint your house. You're going to have to update your house if you have outdated appliances. If you've got carpet in the house, probably going to have to replace that, right? You're going to have to add that value if you want that maximum money. Now, like I said, you don't have to. There are going to be buyers that are going to be willing to buy your house in its current condition with the understanding that they're coming in once they buy it and they're going to do these updates themselves. So you don't need to make the renovations before selling. And even after you're under contract, the buyer may get an inspector to come by the house, and it's going to have this laundry list of things that, are wrong with the property. You are not obligated to make those fixes. Okay. They may ask for concessions. They may adjust their offer, or they may walk away altogether if there are serious defects with the house. But I just want to stress the point that you do not need to make these major renovations before selling. There is no requirement for that. All right, myth 4. Selling a home is too stressful and time consuming. Okay. I'll say this. It depends, right? Can it be stressful and time consuming? Sure. When is it stressful? I would say if it's your first time selling a house and you decide to sell the house yourself, it could be stressful because you're unfamiliar with the process. It's not that it can't be done, but if you're taking the reins and you're driving this process and you're unfamiliar with the process, you're going to have to learn a lot along the way. And usually when people are learning things, they're not as comfortable as they normally would be had they been doing something that they are familiar with, right? Think about learning a new skill or learning a new task at your job. You put in a lot of attention, you're hyper focused, you're trying to master it. And, you can't have people talking in your ear and things because you're so concentrated, right? So it can be stressful. Um, Definitely that learning process. There's going to be a lot of research. There's going to be a lot of, looking into things. And that could be time consuming, right? Again, think about, you learning a task. How slow were you at completing this task versus the person that was teaching you the task, right? So it could be stressful. It could be time consuming. If you're new at it, you also have to show the property, which can require you to either take time off of work or make yourself available during working hours or whenever people are coming by to look at it. That again does rob you of your time. However, doesn't have to be. Again, I don't want to sell my company too much, but you deal with us. We see it once. You don't have to show it again. And then, like I said, we take over the process. We're hiring the attorney. We're scheduling whatever we need to schedule. We're doing, most of the times we see it once and that's it and it's done. I take a good look at the house, look at the attic, look underneath the house. I know what I've got. I'm the buyer and also the inspector, and we're done. If you're selling it the traditional way and it's your first time and you have a 9 to 5, you got a job you go to every single day, then hire a real estate agent. That is a good alternative because they make it their job to be there at the house, to show the house, to network with other realtors and show them the house. And they also are responsible for making sure you sign all the proper documents and that they get to the real estate attorney, right? So they're taking ownership of that process. You've essentially delegated the responsibility to them, and that can help you save time. So that's something to think about. Now, it's not free. You're going to pay 6% of your house's value for that, meaning if you sell your house for 100 grand, you're going to pay $6,000 for that, for delegating that responsibility. If you're selling for 200,000, you're going to pay 12 grand. So it's a significant cost and something you need to think about. All right, myth number 5, all buyers are looking for newer homes. Not necessarily. Everyone, what I've realized is that we sometimes internalize this thought process, and because we might prefer a newer home, or we believe that people or that buyers are looking for a newer home, we internalize this and we assume that this is all buyers, right? That these are the interests and motivations of all buyers. And the truth is that that's not right. That's not accurate. Everybody is different. There are a multitude of buyers. Some buyers do want newer homes because they don't want to deal with the hassles that come along with a home built, a house that's 100 years old. There are other people that love the character and charm, the craftsmanship, the architectural details that come with an older home. I happen to be one of those people. I love an old southern home here in South Carolina, big front porch. There are these architectural cues that really bring, that I look at, and it's like and it brings me the same kind of joy that looking at a nice painting would bring to me, right? It is aesthetically pleasing for me. Many times, older homes are going to be in established neighborhoods, right? Think about a neighborhood that's been around for 60, 70 years. Those homes have been there for a long time. It's a good neighborhood. It's an established neighborhood, good schools, lots of families, right, have lived in this neighborhood. You're not going to find new houses there. What you might find are renovated houses that keep the character and charm of the older home, but also include the amenities that are consistent with a newer construction house. Okay? All right, myth 6. My home won't sell in its current condition. Again, not true. There is always a buyer. Just like there are buyers that like new houses, there's buyers that like older houses. There are going to be buyers for a perfect house, right? And this buyer will only buy a house that's perfect. They don't want to deal with painting cabinets. They don't want to deal with painting walls. You're also going to find buyers that are looking for value, that they're looking to add something, to make something their own. And so this buyer will be willing to buy the house in its current condition, regardless of what that condition might be. Again, I'm one of those buyers. I buy property as is, and then I go in there and make it my own, right, to taste. And I add countertops, I add cabinets, whatever, 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 in order to get it to where it needs to be. Now, here's what you need to understand: the worse the condition, the less the price that you can ask for that house. If your house is in perfect condition, then you can ask maximum amount for the house. But if it is not, then you're going to have to ask for less, because now you've got somebody coming in. Let's say you've got $50,000 worth of repairs. People are going to expect not only the price to be reduced by 50,000, but you also have time, money, and time and effort, right? The money is 50, time and effort that need to be accounted for. And so while the repairs might be 50,000, well, my time is also there's also a value there, and then my effort, which would be my labor, also has a value there, right? So you need to reduce it further. Something to think about. All right, and finally, number 7. This is going to be the last one. It's better to sell in the spring or summer. Okay. Spring and summer are traditionally busy seasons for real estate. The Florence market is an active market year round. And it's because the temperament, the temperature, and the climate. Okay. The temperature in South Carolina is a mild one, and the economy in Florence is busy, right? It isn't like Myrtle Beach where you've got an influx of people in the summer and then everybody leaves and, later on in the year. Florence stays busy year round, so there's year round market activity. All right, here are just to leave you guys with some tips. Here are practical tips to maximize your returns. Okay, 6 things that you should do. Set the right price, very important. So you want to conduct a comparative market analysis. It's a CMA. A real estate agent can do that for you, or we can do that for you as well. What we're going to do is look at what are the active listings in the area, in your neighborhood. Okay. And your neighborhood is usually within a quarter mile, maybe less. What's active in the neighborhood, and most importantly, what's sold in the neighborhood, within the last 3 to 6 months. You're going to want to invest in curb appeal, right? The first impression matters. When people pull up off the street, they're going to look at the house. What are they going to say? Wow, the house looks clean. It looks inviting. I like how, this looks nice. And then walk in, and look at the rest of the property. Your house could be the most beautiful house in the world on the inside, but if it looks like shit on the outside, you're going to have a hard time selling it, because the outside, the first impression, sets the tone for the rest of the showing, right? So if people coming in have bad taste in their mouth, they're going to look at everything with a certain degree of disgust. The outside's disgusting. You're going to be looking at the inside like, yuck, right? This house is just disgusting. And it could be all brand new. Whereas if the outside is beautiful, you got flowers, very welcoming, now they're looking at it differently. They're looking at it from a more elated point of view. All right, number 3, stage your home. This could help. I would say reserve this for houses that are selling, over $700,000 or something like that. Make it worthwhile. Staging your home isn't necessarily free, so there are costs involved with it. Of course, if it's your home, you are essentially staging it with your own furniture, just make sure that it is all nice and tidy and not disorganized. Okay. Declutter if possible. All right. Market strategically. You're going to want to use personal photography, professional photography. Highly recommended. They will take nice pictures of the house. Makes a big difference because, typically what happens is, it's not like a real estate agent is going around the neighborhood looking at these houses and then selling them to people. No, what happens is buyers are interested in buying, and then they go to a Zillow or to some, Trulia or Realtor.com, and they start looking at, what's for sale in the neighborhood, and they look at the pictures. If the pictures are trash, they're gonna skip over the house. If they look good, the pictures make the house look good, then they'll, reach out to an agent and schedule an appointment to see your house. That's how it works. Um, so you want the pictures to look good, you want the front of the house to look good, and then also want the inside to look good, but definitely pictures and the outside are very, very important. Okay, you want to be flexible with showings. You know, buyer schedules are going to differ. Some are going to work in the evening, some are going to work during the day, right? Normally, people are going to work 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, or whatever. They're going to be working those hours. So a lot of showings are probably going to be, after 5 o'clock. But, you may have folks that want to come earlier in the day. So you need to be flexible. You need to understand that your property should be on lockbox. You should, at the very least, if you're working with an agent, give them the authority to show the property while you're not there. Um, if you're a control freak, there's going to be a level of control that you're going to have to give up in order to make this successful. So just think about that. And then finally, negotiate wisely. All right. You're going to receive offers. They're going to be below the asking price. I guess it depends, right? If it's a hot market, you're going to get offers over the asking, which is fine. But typically you'll get offers below the asking price. You're gonna get offers that are at asking but have different concessions and different terms. It's not always about the price. Some people might want to, let's say if you're selling your house for 100 grand, somebody might say, look, I'll give you 95, close in 2 weeks. Somebody might say, I'll give you 105, close in 60 days. So it depends. You need to weigh these different things, right? 95 grand, but I close in 2 weeks. So that's 5,000 short of the asking. Or, somebody says 110, which is 10 over the asking, but closing in 60 days. Do you want to wait that additional time? There is no right or wrong answer. You might say, yeah, I'll wait 60 days for an additional 10,000. But some people might be in a hurry and they might say, look, I need to move I need to move immediately, like yesterday. So yeah, I'll take 5 last and close in 2 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of variations that these offers come in. It's not just the price, but there are different components, whether certain fixtures are going to be included in the property, whether you'll concede for new appliances, whether you provide concessions for a new appliance or for painting the kitchen or for making a repair or for, the list goes on and on and on and on. Negotiations are all really free form and can be and should be creative, depending on what side of the negotiation you're on. Well, look, folks, I hope you enjoyed this talk today. I know we were, primarily centered around Florence, South Carolina, but I will say that a lot of what we discussed today is general and applicable to all parts of South Carolina. Again, My name is Joe Ortiz. I'm with Palmetto Buyers, Palmetto Land Buyers, Palmetto House Buyers. We buy real estate in South Carolina. We will provide you with a cash offer. Our primary business is, we'll buy land and develop it. So we're in residential real estate. So we'll put a house there or a double wide or some kind of manufactured home. If you're selling us a house, we're going to repair the house, right? We're going to put a new roof. We're going to put new countertops, new whatever needs to be done in order to sell it. So we will fix it and then sell it. And also sometimes we'll buy it, we'll fix it, and we'll, rent it out so we can provide some rentals to the community. There are people that just prefer to rent and don't want the responsibility of buying. I understand that. No judgment here. And we also do some Airbnb, although we're kind of getting out of that business. Airbnbs are such a headache. But please reach out 803-201-9137 if you want to discuss this or talk about anything else real estate related. We're here to talk to you. Thank you so much. Bye.